tuning in. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream where I go live every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk all things claims, careers, coffee, and all kinds of other cool stuff. I'm your host, Josh Fisher, and this stream is brought to you by Crew Talent Group, the greatest claim adjuster recruiting group on the planet. If you're tuning in, jump in the chat. I'd love for you to say hello. And if you enjoy this content, do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me more than you could know. And if you're in claims or you want to be, connect with me on LinkedIn or send me your resume at www.crewtalentgroup.com. I'd love to hear from you. Now it's time for the show. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are officially live. We are on TikTok this morning, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours weekly live stream where I go live every single Tuesday for 1 hour. Open up my office here in Portland, Oregon. Talk about all things claims, careers. Hanging out, say hello in the chat. Would love to hear from you. Let's see if this works. Boom, there we go. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, happy Memorial Day, everybody. I hope you had a great Memorial Day long weekend. It feels like a Monday. It's actually a Tuesday. I had a fantastic weekend. Beautiful weather here in Portland, Oregon. Got to see a concert this weekend. See some live music. Morning, Shannon in the chat. Hope you're having a great week so far. I got to enjoy some steaks. Good morning, Bridget. Thanks for tuning in today. I had a pretty awesome weekend. It was a great time. Beautiful weather here in Portland. Beautiful time to be alive. It was like 80 degrees and sunny. Got to ride around on little Lime scooters. That was the inspiration for the thumbnail today on the live stream. I love those little Lime scooters. So fun. I remember when they first came out, people were so against them. And now it seems like they're everywhere in every single city. I love riding on them. I actually don't own a car. We're a one-car household here in Portland, Oregon. My wife owns the car. Lime scooter is my primary mode of transportation. Actually, my 2 feet are, but I like riding the Lime scooters. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. Let's hop on it. Let's get right to it. My goals of the week, starting every week with my 2 goals. One personal, one work-related, one fun-related. Love to hear your goals. If you got some goals, put them in the chat. What your goals of the week are. So my 2 goals, one of the things I've been working on in my business life is using Claude for making my life more efficient and more effective. I found Claude over the last month to be extremely an efficient, I guess, AI platform to work on. I've been using ChatGPT in the past, and I've switched over kind of fully to Claude. Incredible. If you're like a small business owner, if you're a entrepreneur or someone that works on their own, similar to how I work, I would highly recommend Claude. Also for like data engineers or like if you're doing tech work, Claude is just on a whole new level. But there's things called skills in Claude. So my goal this week is to make 3 new skills in Claude to help kind of automate my business. Just automate things, make them work running. It's really cool. You can build a repeatable, if you have a repeatable process that you do over and over and over in your job, you can have Claude build that process for you. So one of the things I do with Claude is I put in my transcript from this podcast every single week, and that enables a skill, and then it comes up with other short form content that I could play off of to use for my other social media channels. So that's like a really basic skill. But that's one of my goals, to make 3 new skills within Claude to help me improve my workflows and efficiencies. My second goal of the week is to stay healthy, eat healthy, stay hydrated. I am 5 weeks out from my first ever full marathon on the 4th of July. I'll be running 26.2 miles. It's basically been my entire personality over the last 12 weeks or so, but I am 5 weeks out. I ran 17 miles on Sunday, so that was pretty cool. Just need to stay hydrated, stay healthy, get to the start line at this point. It's been a wild ride. So that's my other goal of the week. Love to hear your goals. Obviously, my other goal is always to keep my clients happy, help people find jobs, help 100 people in the year 2026 find jobs in the insurance industry, which is the whole reason of this live stream. So if you're here, thanks so much for tuning in. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rocking through the show. So those are my goals of the week. Love to hear you winning out there in the world. A couple shout outs this week. I shouted out last week, but it was technically in this week, so I'm gonna do it again. Shout out Taylor on your new job. We added her to the Road 100. You can see the little ticker at the bottom. We're up to 20, trying to get to 100. So no new ones this week. We got Taylor last week. We put her on last week, but we'll say congrats again to Taylor on the new position. Other shout outs this week. Shout out to Caleb, listener of the show, moving to St. Louis. He's looking for work in the IA space. If anybody needs an independent adjuster in the St. Louis region, shout out to Caleb. Recently relocated there. St. Louis is a hotbed for property claims, so they get a lot of weather activity, especially if you're willing to drive, which I'm sure Caleb is. We're kind of that whole area in the Midwest. Lots of hailstorms, tornadoes, all that fun stuff. Third shout out of the week is my homie Trace and Doug. Thanks for taking me golfing this past week. We got a beautiful day on Friday at the golf course. My second time ever golfing. Just say I'm a pro. Not a good golfer, but that's okay. I don't need to be a good golfer. Market Pulse. We're just rocking through these segments today. Market Pulse. Just kind of want to touch on briefly what I'm seeing in the insurance industry as it relates to claims professionals. What I'm seeing every day as a recruiter, I'm obviously trying to get work for my business, but I'm also talking to job seekers every day. I'm also talking to hiring managers every day. And so just like to share insights that I see. If you're seeing similar things, you're seeing different things, let me know. I'm always curious as to what's happening as it relates to jobs and hiring and claims. It's something that I've touched on this live stream before. I'm going to touch on it again. Certainly is property has been very slow over the past, we'll say 2 years almost at this point. Well, it's been a little bit less than 2 years, but property has been on the cool throne, on the hot seat, or I guess on the hot seat. Property work has been on the hot seat. Lack of catastrophes, changing business models, inspection only model, IA products coming out, drones, things like that. So property adjusters, there's a lot of property adjusters kind of out on the sidelines right now looking for work, unfortunately. But what I would say, the flip side of that is the commercial auto, the general liability, the product liability, the casualty space. We got property and casualty, P&C claims. The P is kind of slow. The C is not slow right now. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of new things happening, specifically in the casualty space. And so my advice to all the property adjusters out there that are looking for work is to look on that casualty side and to start looking at some of these other lines of business that maybe weren't open to in the past, but or maybe haven't explored, maybe don't know about yet. So check out some of these things. Commercial auto, the transportation space, rideshare space is booming right now. It's a really interesting place to be, and I think it's going to continue that way. And if you look up adjuster jobs in the market right now, that's where we're seeing a lot of the jobs. General liability, social inflation, people are sue happy. A lot of claims arise from that. So that seems to be something that's happening, that's something that's out there. And so general liability jobs are another avenue to explore in terms of different types of careers. Those are like your slip and fall claims. I ate a hot dog at a gas station. It made me sick, and now I'm suing 7-Eleven claims. All kinds of just interesting types of claims in the general liability space. And like things like product liability. A good example of that that's really interesting that I find is like the cannabis space. product liability claims. I took these gummies and they did something crazy or whatever made me sick. Those are product liabilities claims. You sold me this product that was defective or that did, made harm. Really interesting space. And then also the specialty lines are always booming, always looking for people. So if you have in-depth construction defect knowledge, if you worked on the specialty claims, if you've got E&S, so things like that, is a good place to look. So if you're a property adjuster that's been sitting on the sidelines for now, those are some of the lines of business that I would highly recommend. Looks like we have Shannon with a question in the chat. I'm putting in a question. I'm diligently looking for claims roles. Shout out Shannon, looking for claims work. If you're a claims hiring manager out there, he's definitely someone that you should be talking to. Approximately how many applications do you think is good to do for an aggressive job search each week? I think that's an excellent question. I think a lot of people have that same question. I want to flip that question a little bit, change the conversation a little bit. It seems like applications are like this just black hole of death and doom and gloom, and there's just no good. I'm not saying don't do applications. I think it's an important part of like a job search, but I would challenge you, instead of looking at applications as like a metric for success, try and think about conversations as a metric for success. So applications are great. It's kind of the traditional way of doing things, but I would challenge you to try and also add in like conversations. So a good goal is like 1 or 2. So every single day, go on LinkedIn, go on Rise, go on any of these platforms where you can find people, honestly, like Facebook forums even, and try and find people that have the job title of like someone that would be a hiring manager. So claims manager, claims director, those types of labels or titles, and try and just start conversations. Ask a genuine question. It's not like, hey, can I get a job? Or hey, I'm looking for work. It's just like, hey, this is who I am. Here's a little bit about me. I'm curious about what you're seeing in the market this way for job seekers. And just start like engaging in conversations. And I think that like historically, networking, getting in conversations with people has been way more effective than job applications. And so continue doing job applications. I'm not saying stop that, but push yourself to try something a little bit different in terms of like having conversation. And those don't have to be random people that you don't know. You can even go through all your LinkedIn followers and find 5 people that you've worked with in the past or 5 people that you know, and just try and start a conversation with them about the job market or about what they're seeing in claims, or the future of, what technology they're using, and try and like in the conversation let them know that like, hey, I'm looking for a job. But use that as a starting point instead of an application. People want to hire human beings. They don't want to hire resumes, and it's like that's what this job market right now is doing. Is it's feeding this. It's like this black hole where I have a job opening, I'm gonna put a LinkedIn ad up or an Indeed ad. They get like 500 applications. They sort through them. It's just so robotic. How do you stand out in that? It's nearly impossible to stand out in that right now. It's not working for anyone. I can tell you that it's not working for companies because I hear it every single day from the companies. I just spent $400 on Indeed ads and I feel like that was a waste of money. And I kind of laugh and I say, yeah, that was a waste of money. But that's what you're dealing. You're competing against 400 robots. So it stinks. And if you're a job seeker out there, like, keep your head up. It's gonna happen. It takes time. But continue doing applications. Continue to try to find them. And even bonus point, see an application for a company if it's a job that looks really awesome. Find a hiring manager or 2 at that company, and then again, the first message is, hey, do you have a job? No, don't do that. Your first message is just like, hey, my name's Josh. I've been an insurance adjuster for 5 years. Curious if you have any tips for someone who's trying to move up in the industry or to get their next job in the industry. What do you think the biggest changes in the next couple of years are going to be with claims adjusting? Are there any technology platforms that you find really interesting right now? And just start a conversation. So use that as a metric in addition to applications, but I'm going to have a new tagline. I'm going to make like shirts or something that says conversations are greater than applications, because it just seems like if you're a job seeker out there, there's these black holes of applications, and it's not working for anybody. So it's something that's got to change. That's my soapbox. Drank a whole cup of coffee just on that. Okay, let's keep rocking. Let's keep rocking. We're gonna open up like Q&A here in just 1 second. I got one more quick little segment. One more thing I want to chat about. What is an MGA? I spent a lot of time on this live stream talking about TPAs. What is a TPA? How TPAs operate? Why they're great places to work. So wanted to talk a little bit about the other side of that and why it's important for claims adjusters to kind of understand what this means. Excuse me. And that is an MGA. So if you're brand new to insurance, or even if you've been in the industry for a while, you may or may not know what an MGA is. So an MGA is a managing general agent. What that means is they are not an insurance carrier. They do not have money that they're under, they're not the ones paying out the claims. Basically what an MGA is they've been granted full authority by an insurance carrier to write policies with their money. So basically they act like a carrier. They act like they do this. They have underwriting authority. They have claims payout authority. They've got all this different types of like authority that a claims or like a carrier would have, but it's not their money that they're playing with, right? And so X carrier, whoever it might be out there in the world, basically gives these MGAs the power to write policies on their paper. They get to underwrite it. They get to decide how the claims are handled. Sometimes they handle the claims themselves. And so why would they do this? Why does that make any sense? Why wouldn't the carrier just write the policies themselves? And typically this has to do with very specialized risk. And so a lot of times a carrier won't have that expertise in-house, and they don't necessarily want to pay or develop these programs. And so they'll basically say, okay, you're a very specialized company. You're an MGA. You really understand the restaurant business. You know the restaurant business in and out. You understand how policies work. You understand how risks are managed. You understand how claims payouts work. You've got this on lock. I don't necessarily know this, but I want a piece of that pie. I want in on this. So I'll give you my money. I'll allow you to use my paper to write a policy. And there's obviously guardrails to this. They don't just have unlimited access to money, right? But let's continue on that example. So I own a chain restaurant, and I own 45 chain restaurants, and I'm in 6 different states, and I've got delivery service, and I've got all these different moving parts of my business. I can't just go to State Farm and say, hey, write me a policy for my general liability. I want to make sure that if someone slips and falls in my store, or if someone gets sick, or if somebody there's a fight. I own a Waffle House and there's a fight at 2 a.m. I want to be covered. Well, your standard insurance carriers are not going to have the expertise to write those policies. So they hand that off basically to an MGA, and that's who you would go to write that policy. And so you may be working with a broker, right? Because then I go to my broker and I say, hey, I'm trying to get this policy. The broker is the person that represents me as that owner of that restaurant, if we're continuing down this. Well, the MGA is kind of the represents the carrier. And so my broker is then going to go and talk to a couple different MGAs and try and find a policy, because traditional brokers go and they have all these insurance companies that write with them. And, that's just not how it works in the commercial space. And so that's how kind of some of these more specialized policies work. And why is that important if you're an adjuster? Is it can be another place that you can go out and find work. is there are MGAs out there that hire claims specialists, that hire claims managers, that hire all types of different claims professionals, right? They're in charge. It's the carrier's money, but they're in charge of managing that policy. And sometimes that means they'll hire adjusters to run the claims. It also means sometimes they'll hire a TPA to manage those claims. So when you see TPAs out there, if I'm a TPA, that's one of the places that I go to get business. I'm trying to get the MGAs to write policies and then get my TPA to handle that. So if you're working as a claims adjuster from a TPA, one of your clients could be a carrier, one of your clients could be an MGA, and it's kind of the same at a certain level. So it's kind of an interesting little thing. You'll see MGAs that sometimes have claims opportunities, and that's what that is. And so it's just another place. I'm not saying go look entirely at MGAs, that's the only spot, but especially if you have specialized knowledge, you have specialized skills, they're also great people to talk to because they sometimes know who the TPA players are in your area. So they know that I typically place at this TPA. And so if you just know everything about cranes, you're the cranes expert, and you know how all these cranes operate and how you've worked in the crane business for 40 years and you want to handle crane adjusting claims, like, find that MGA that's writing all those policies and talk to those people, because I'm guaranteed there's an MGA out there that specializes in writing policies on construction sites and crane operations and things like that. And so that's where you see some of these specialized opportunities occur. And yeah, a lot of times they do just like contract out TPAs to handle their claims, but sometimes they do it in-house. Sometimes the MGA will hire kind of a claims like manager, not to kind of manage the vendor, even just like make sure that their loss ratios are looking good, or make sure that the claims are being handled to the guidelines that they're looking at. So it's really important to understand what they are, how they operate, and it kind of within the claims context and everything. And then there can be opportunities there. And so that's what you're looking at when you see some of these opportunities. It's not a place that a lot of adjusters, I think, go to look at for jobs, but it's interesting, and also just for information. Going back to the conversation with Shannon, good stuff. I read on one of the platforms, someone said 20 a day. I felt exhausted just hearing that. I love the network piece. Thank you. Yeah, like there isn't going to be 20 jobs a day for you to go out and find. At a certain point, there's just a limited number of openings out there, but there's an unlimited number of managers out there. And so Shannon, I'm not sure if you have joined Rise yet. It's definitely another place that you should go check out. Rise. I can put a quick comment. I'm not sure if this will show on LinkedIn. I don't have LinkedIn up. But if you're not on Rise, you should definitely check out Rise. I don't think that's probably going to pop up in LinkedIn, but you can see it on the screen. Rise is, what does Rise stand for? Rising Insurance Star Executives. Basically, what Rise is it's a completely free organization that you can go to, and they provide resources for people who are trying to level up their careers in insurance. And so it's kind of all different types of insurance. They've got kind of the broker side, the agency side, the operation side, the claim side. So it's just broader insurance. But it's an organization that's just all about kind of lifting people up, and they've got some really cool programs like the mentorship program where you can get matched with a mentor in your industry. But they also have job boards, and it's also a really good place to just connect and to chat with people. And so there's like an online community where you could go in and just say, hey, introduce yourself, let people know that you're job hunting, see if anyone has any connections. You can also message people directly. Talk to people. So definitely something I would look up. It's totally free. Anyone who's in the insurance industry, no matter where you're at in your career, I highly recommend checking it out. Amy Cooper is the founder of Rise, and she's incredible. But yeah, highly recommend checking out Rise. I'm on the careers committee. There's the careers committee meeting is happening right now. I miss it every week because I do this, but it's a really awesome organization. Highly recommend you check it out. I just spilled coffee. Okay, so that is my last little segment here. Um, got Brandy in the chat saying Rise. I agree. It's a great resource for anyone in insurance. It really is. Rise is a really, really awesome. They have an awesome vision. They have a they've got a annual leadership summit happening later this or next month in June. So if you're in Fort Lauderdale or around that area, check out, I think, the leadership summit. The tickets are probably going to run out soon. I'm not sure if they run out, but highly recommend checking that out. I will not be there this year. I really, really want to be there. It's a bummer. I wish I could make it. I wish Florida was closer to Oregon. I wish it was just easier for me to get places, but highly recommend checking it out if you're in that area. I think they do some scholarships too, so there might be. Hit me up if I don't know if I could. Hit me, you know, if that's the issue, let me know and I can see what I can do. We got Elliot in the chat. What up, dude? Let's go. Heck yeah. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Okay, what else we got? So we're opening it up. We're live here. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Totally open format for the next half an hour. This is my office. Welcome to it. It's like back in college, you know, your professor had college office hours. And the purpose was just to help anybody that needed help on whatever. And so that's kind of the format of this. Is I'm a recruiter in the insurance industry. I try and help people get jobs in the insurance industry, level up their careers, accomplish their goals. And so if you're out there and you need a boost, you need some help, you need whatever, it's totally open. I've got some prepared questions of DMs and things that I hear. And so I'll go over those. But if you're joining in and you want to chat, this is the open office hours, the Claims Recruiter office hours, every single Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We're having a good time. So thanks so much for tuning in. Let's rock with some questions. I come from outside insurance. How do I break into claims? Very good question. This is something that I get in my DMs all the time. And part of the reason I started this live stream, this whole thing, is because I want people to come work in insurance. I want people to know how awesome of an industry that this is, and it's accessible. Very few people, I won't say nobody, but most people that work in insurance did not wake up one day and say, I want to go work in insurance, right? A lot of us, we have this joke, we all fall into it. And maybe you tuning into this podcast is you falling into it too. But it's a really incredible career. Claims especially is very rewarding. It's not for everybody. I'll say that. It's not for everybody, but it is an awesome career. It's a great place to work. And so how do you break into claims adjusting if you're totally on the outside? So I would first start by researching different lines of business and kind of see where you fit in. I think a lot of people think about claims adjusting as kind of property and auto, right? You've got your property adjusters, hail hit on my roof. You got an adjuster goes and inspects the damage, writes a check, on your way. Same with auto. You've got in a car accident, you have an auto adjuster kind of helping you out. And those are two really good lines of business to start out in. I would say right now of those two, again, auto it's kind of the hotter market right now. Property adjusting has slowed quite a bit. Not to say that it won't pick back up, but that's where at one place I would look. But look at your skills, look at your goals, look at your background, your experience, and see kind of where it makes sense to fit yourself in. Not saying you have to be sold, okay, I have to be this, I have to do that, but just take a look. There's all kinds of different lines. I think if I was an adjuster starting out right now today, I would be trying to angle myself towards commercial casualty. So some of these commercial examiner, commercial adjusting positions I think are really interesting. They require a lot of critical thinking skills, a lot of investigation skills. You still have to have empathy, you still have to have customer service, you still have to have time management, but a little bit heavier on kind of the critical thinking investigations aspect. And I think that's really fun and cool. And so, yeah, look at your skills, look at your experience. Maybe you've got 15 years working in a collision center for cars. If that's you, then an auto property damage adjuster or an auto physical damage adjuster position would be kind of right up your alley. You already understand how it takes to put cars back together. You understand kind of the process of repairs. You understand what can be repaired, what necessarily can't be repaired. So, like, you really want to see what skills you got, what experience you have, how that translates, and then try and really like push that on your resume or on your LinkedIn, or make sure you're showing kind of how those skills relate. Second thing I would do, so first thing, do a little in-depth discovery on yourself, where you're at, where you want to be. Second thing is to kind of get your resume in order. So start building a resume, start building your LinkedIn towards this. So when someone clicks on your page or someone goes to your profile, they look at it for 2 seconds, they understand who you are and what you want to do, right? What your goals are. So if you're trying to be an auto adjuster, you're trying to get your first job in the claims industry, you should tell people that and let them know and be transparent about it. And people will not only help you, but recruiters will reach out to you. And when you apply for a job and you have no experience and the recruiter goes to your page, you stand out a little bit more than kind of the rest of people. So optimize your LinkedIn, optimize your resume. If you need a resume template, reach out to me, Josh@CrewTalentGroup.com. I will give you one totally free. Get licensed. So in order to be a claims adjuster, one of the things you will need is a license. Having a driver's license does not make you a good driver. Having a claims adjusting license does not make you a good claims adjuster. What it does is it gives you your ticket to the party. Okay? That's all it is. It's your ticket to the party. You spend 40 hours, take your test, you get your fingerprints, you get your certificate. Now you have the license to do the job. Most jobs out there are going to require some sort of license. If they don't require a license, they're going to prefer that you have one probably, or they're going to require you to get one in the first 180 days. So as a brand new person into the industry, it's something I would highly recommend. It typically costs no more than $300. Depends on the state that you're in, but you're probably going to have to pay a couple $100s for some sort of licensing program, education, typically a 40-hour class. Adjuster Pro is one place that you can get online. Otherwise, you can do different in-person classes. So that's the next step. Get licensed. If licensing questions, let me know. I know way too much about licensing, how to do it, what states require it. If you're in a state that doesn't require it, what state you should get, all that fun stuff. Talk for an hour about that. I'm not going to today. And then, yeah, I would say the biggest thing that you can do right now is, if you're job seeking, is to be active on LinkedIn too. So we talked about it earlier, getting conversations with people. Also comment on other people's things. If you really want to work at a company, you love this company, it's awesome. It's like me as a recruiter. There's companies that I really want to work at, I let them know. And I let them know with the like button on LinkedIn, the comment button on LinkedIn, right? I'm always the first one commenting. I'm turning on notifications on their posts. I'm in their comments. I'm messaging some of the people. I'm not being too much, but little basic things like that. Like if you're trying to work with a recruiter or work with a company, every time they post it, you're the first person to like it and you comment awesome things. They're gonna start liking you. They're gonna appreciate it. It's a way to get your name out there. It's free. It's easy. It just takes time and energy, effort. So, you're smashing applications. Smash some of the comment buttons on LinkedIn. Smash the like button too. Things like that when you're working with. So, those are a couple things I would recommend if you're outside of insurance trying to break in. Another thing is you should talk to recruiters. Like if you're trying to break into claims, you may want to talk to the greatest claim recruiter on the planet. I don't know. This is the Claims Recruiter office hours weekly live stream. If you're new here, totally open format. I hang out here for an hour every single Tuesday. We talk about claims, we talk about insurance, we talk about life, whatever you want to talk about. Totally open format. You can hop in the comments, you can hop in the DMs, whatever. Send me messages if you've got questions you want to learn about, anything. But my name is Josh. I'm a recruiter in the insurance industry. I specialize in claims adjusters. That's what I do every single day for my life, is talk to candidates, people that are looking for jobs, also hiring managers, companies, people that are hiring adjusters. So I like to just use this as an opportunity to help people who are trying to level up their careers. So again, totally open format. Say hello in the chat if you're out there. If there's something, you're burning question on your mind, let me know. I'd love to talk about it. Otherwise, I've got some prepared questions from last week that I got in my DMs. I talked earlier about my Claude usage, and how one of the things my goals for the week is to come up with a couple of skills for Claude. One of the skills that I've created in Claude is I take all of the DMs that I get throughout the week, I paste them in a Word document, and then I put them in Claude, and Claude spits out these questions. So it takes those, it kind of, some of them are similar, and it just very quickly, I could do this. Could I do this? Absolutely. I could absolutely go in and come up with 7 questions every week. But this makes it way more quick, way more efficient, way more just effective for me. So Claude creates these questions based off of real DMs that come into my inbox. And then Claude also creates these graphics, which is pretty crazy. So on the little TV screen over here, it automatically creates this. I don't have to go in Canva. I don't have to do anything. I just plop it right back into my streaming platform. I can edit it if I need to, so I can tell it what to do. But just another example. I talked about a little bit earlier how I use Claude in my day-to-day. I used to do these all manually. It would take me 30 minutes just to do the graphics for the show. Now it takes me literally, it's a prompt. Just copy and paste that bad boy, and we're rocking. So something kind of cool. Why does my resume make me look like a job hopper? So I've gotten this one quite a bit here recently. I think it's a really important thing to talk about. So one of the things as a recruiter that I hear all the time from companies trying to hire people is they don't want people that aren't going to stay, right? And how do you predict if someone's going to stay at a job or not? Well, one of the ways that you can predict that is to look at their job history, right? And if you worked a different job every 6 months for the last 5 years, what are the odds that you're going to work longer than 6 months at the next job that you work? So it's not the only thing that we scan for, that we screen for, we talk to people about. But as I've said over and over on this show before, the biggest indicator of future behavior is past behavior. So it is something that we screen for. And the reason that employers screen for this is because it's very expensive to hire and train someone. It's not only expensive to do that, but it's just time consuming, and it's kind of soul sucking, right? If you've got a team and you spend 6 months getting someone up to speed in a position and then they leave, it's not even just the money. It's like, I got to spend 6 months getting the next person up to speed, and the next person, and it hurts culture, it hurts team motivation, it costs real money. So all these things, like, yeah, it's very important to employers when they're hiring people. Obviously you can't predict the future, but you don't want someone who you think is going to be a flight risk that's going to get another job offer in 3 months that's a little bit more money, and they're going to take that and leave. So it's something you really need to consider when you're making moves. It is like, is this a long-term thing for me? What's this going to do for my long-term future? Does this align with where I want to be? I'm not saying you have to stay at every job that you have for 15 years, but what I am saying is that if you're constantly taking new jobs, especially if they're lasting less than a year, less than 2 years, it's going to impede your ability in the future to get other jobs. So something to think about. Now, that being said, there are times when you take a job or you're working somewhere and you are let go or something happens drastically, in which case it makes it so you have to leave or whatever that might be. Here's an example. I worked for a company for 4 years. I didn't do this. This is just a proverbial example. I'm sure there's nobody out there in the world that has this, but I worked for a carrier for 4 years. And I got a really awesome opportunity. I was in personal lines auto. I got an awesome opportunity to go work on a pretty exciting electric car vehicle account for a TPA. So I got this job at a TPA, and then 1 year later, that TPA actually lost that account with that prominent, well-known national electric vehicle that starts with a T, and that company decided to take their own claims department, bring it in-house, and subsequently that TPA had to let go of their entire team of auto adjusters, right? So you worked a job, you got a really awesome opportunity, and then 1 year later, through no fault of anything that you did, you were laid off along with your entire team, right? And so I think I get this question. It's like, okay, how do I explain that? Is someone just going to look at my resume and say, you worked at a job for 10 months and then got fired, you're damaged goods no more? You know, I'm not saying that's how all recruiters look at you, but I think it's a very valid concern. So here's a quick tip. If you're out there, you can, if this has happened to you, you got to explain, okay, I had a totally reasonable reason that I worked this job for 10 months, have no fault of my own, whatever it might be. And I don't want you to pass over my resume just because it looks like I just got fired. So here's your quick tip. And again, if you're out there and you are working on your resume and you need some help, let me know. I have a resume template that you can use for totally free. Just send me a DM, send me a message. I will send you my resume template. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to put that company name. You're going to put the dates just like you normally do. Month, year. You're going to put your title, right, at that company. And then typically right after that, you put your experience bullet points, right? So here's the change. Before those experience bullet points, you're going to put a 1 paragraph and you're going to explain 3 things. What the company did. So if it's a TPA, if it's an insurance carrier, whatever, you're going to put a general overview of what that company did, what you did specifically at that company, and then if applicable, you can put your reason for departure, right? So here's a quick example of what that could look like. You could, at the end of that little paragraph, you could put position ended as a part of a company-wide RIF when the client transition claims operation in-house, right? And that's gonna let the recruiter know if you have a job on your resume that was 6 months and then you abruptly ended, I'm gonna get that as a recruiter. The first thing I'm gonna think is, I'm gonna need to know why, right? And so I'm gonna ask you in the interview. I'm not gonna just skip over that. I'm not gonna just whatever, but it is a question that I'm going to have. Don't leave me with that question. Answer the question right on your resume. Right. You don't have to put that little thing for every single one. I think you should put a little description of what the company does and what you specifically did. You don't necessarily every single time have to put why you've left. But for a situation like that where you're where you had a TPA let go you and your entire team because of a major electric car manufacturer with an insurance company on the side decided to take their claims department in-house, really good example of why that section on our resume might benefit you. So we got some guys on TikTok saying, who are you speaking to? I'm speaking to you, some guys. Some guys, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. Every single week I go live on TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We talk about careers in claims, that is insurance adjusting. My goal is to help people advance in their careers, get jobs, do whatever your goals are, help you accomplish your goals in the insurance claims industry. So that's why we go live here on TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook every single Tuesday. It's open format, which means I hang out here and talk to people as they comment or DM, and I also answer questions that I receive throughout my DMs throughout the week. So that is format of the show. But yeah, that's my advice. If you've moved jobs a couple times, need some help, show it on your resume, explain it right away, get in front of that. Don't leave me guessing. And again, if you need a resume format to help you get more interviews or whatever, let me know. I will send you a free resume template with some cool frameworks, how to word things. The most important thing with a resume, though, I'll say this: I can fix your formatting, I can fix your job titles, I can fix your bullet points, I can fix the way that your resume reads, but I cannot fix the content that you're writing about. And so your job in your experience right now, or your job right now, or whatever you're doing, is to give me something to write about if I'm helping you with your resume, right? And if you're brand new, go do some CE classes, go do some certifications, go do some licensing type things. If you're working in a different job right now, try and build transferable skills. So, yeah, if there's nothing to write about, good bullet points and proper formatting is not going to fix being a couch potato. So. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We got a little more time. I've been applying for months and getting nowhere. Again, it's been a little bit tough market, especially in the property side over the last months. And so, if you're applying and it seems like you're getting nowhere, you're having difficulties, keep your head up, right? I know it's easy to say, and it's tough to kind of be in that position, right? Your income, your livelihood, sometimes your family kind of all relies on this. And so, it's really tough. So keep your head up, keep doing things for yourself. Remember, your life means more than just your employment, right? There's so much more to life. But I know it's tough and it's a struggle, and so I don't want to, belittle that or anything like that. I know it's very difficult for people right now, especially on the property side. So keep your head up. Continue to do things for yourself. Make sure you're still doing things, having fun. You still deserve a life. Take walks, take breaks. It's hard. It's a full-time job. Looking for a job. Give yourself grace in this period. But a couple things you can do if you seem like you're getting nowhere. Number one thing that I would recommend is getting active on social media, specifically LinkedIn. A really great place that you can go and it costs nothing to do. Post about your experience. Post about things that are in the industry. Post about experiences that you have. You want to establish yourself as credible. Make it look like you know how to do whatever job you're looking for. To write blogs. I think like Jeffrey Conrad right now is just absolutely smoking it in the blog writing game, and it's something that he kind of started doing recently, and I think I think other people should take note of that. I think it's getting him lots of visibility. I think he's really establishing himself as like a voice in the industry and credible, and I find them very informative, and I read all of them. So just things like that. Get on LinkedIn, optimize your profile, make a profile pic. In your headline, make people know like what you do, who you are, what you're looking for. Comment on other people's posts. And again, this is all about conversations, right? Like, I'm gonna make a t-shirt that says conversations over applications. It's going to be more effective for you in the long term as a job seeker to just start having conversations. Applications, great, necessary, whatever, they're terrible. It seems like it gets nowhere because a lot of it do. Again, like, it's a necessary part of it. I totally understand, but start getting in conversations with people that are hiring for jobs that you're looking. Go, if you find a company that has a bunch of job openings, go message a couple of the hiring managers for that company. And the message shouldn't be, "Hi, my name's Josh. Do you have any remote opportunities available?" The message should be, "Hi, my name is Josh. been an adjuster for claims years. I'm currently in the market for a new opportunity. What are you seeing currently in the market? Where would you recommend someone with my experience level go next? Do you have any ideas on where the claims industry is heading in the next 5 years? What cool new technologies are you using that I can take a look at? Just try and get people to give you advice and start that conversation. And that's going to get you so much further than hitting that easy apply button on LinkedIn or Indeed, whatever. So conversations are just as effective as applications. Look at your network. Go through your own internal network and start reaching out to people who you haven't spoken with in a number of years, or if you just reconnect. And again, the goal is not to get a job from that person. The goal is to have a conversation. So if this is you, if you've been applying for months and not getting anywhere, my recommendation would be starting this week. Every single week, your goal is 3 conversations with people that have job titles that could potentially be your hiring manager, right? So a claims director, a claims manager, maybe if you're higher up, it could be VP, it could be AVP, C-suite type people, but conversations over applications. Also, free plug, hit me up, get that resume template, totally free. And if you want some more insights too, just about hiring, claims, whatever it might be, feel free to hop over to talentgroup.com/newsletter, where I send out a weekly newsletter talking about some of these things, typically really short, less than 4 minutes to read. But yeah, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours weekly live stream. Every single Tuesday, I go live for 1 hour, open up my office, and we chat about claims, job opportunities, all types of things. Here's my challenge. If you've made it 55 minutes through this live stream, here's my challenge to you. If you are currently a job seeker, I'm going to make a post about this on my LinkedIn, I think on Thursday here. But here's my challenge. You need to go over to riseprofessionals.com, riseprofessionals.com. You're going to create a free account if you have not already at Rise Professionals. That is going to bring you to their community page. It's kind of like a social media for everyone who's joined this. There's over 10,000 members at this point, probably way more than that. You're going to create an account at Rise, and you either need to message somebody, so connect with someone, find someone who's a hiring manager, or maybe even it's just someone with a title that you're looking for, and start a conversation with that person. Again, it's not, hey, I'm looking for a job. It's just, hey, I saw that you're this job title. I'm trying to be this job title now. How's it going? What do you like about your job? Curious to learn more about what you do every day. And that could be it. That, again, that's a conversation starter. Or you can just make a post in their general discussion or their say hello here section where you can just network with other people. So that is my challenge for you this week. If you're tuning in, if you're listening to this live stream, go to rise.com, riseprofessionals.com, create a free account, and start a conversation with somebody. That's it. It's easy. Not hard at all. Make a post or start a conversation with somebody. Not saying don't do applications. This is strategy in addition to applications, but I would be willing to bet if I took 2 people. Try this. If you had 2 people out there, one person, all they did was message people on LinkedIn and Rise, and the other person, all they did was apply to jobs, actual application. Who would get with the same experience, same skills, everything? Which one would be more effective? How would you get it? Like back in the day, it used to be the best way to go get a job is you walk into the store. You know, you shake the manager's hand, you introduce yourself. And I got a job that way one time. One time I was new to a city. I just wanted to buy skis. I'm gonna be totally real. I just wanted to buy skis, so I walked into a ski shop and I said, "Hey, I want to work in your rental shop." And the guy was like, "Can you start tomorrow?" Like I could have gone online and just put an application in, but I literally walked in the store and said, "Hey, is the manager here today?" And yeah, he's over here. Can't remember his name. Was it Jeff? That place is awesome. Fort Collins, Colorado. And I started the next day, right? I worked there for 2 months. I bought a pair of skis, and the second I got my skis in, I quit. Probably not the most ethical thing that I've ever done. This is 10 years ago, probably, but they didn't care. They needed a little boost to the ski season anyways, and they didn't really need me long term. So funny experience. Christie Sports in Fort Collins, Colorado, back 10 years ago. But that's what you used to do when you're trying to get a job, is you walked into the business and you try to meet people and shake the manager's hand. Why? Because conversations are more valuable than applications. You can't do that anymore. You can't just walk into a business anymore and meet the manager, meet the VP, whatever. But you can go on LinkedIn and you can message them, or you can go on Rise and you can message them, or you can go to your local claims organization event and meet them in person. And all of those things are going to be more valuable to you, job seeker, than applying into the .com black hole of nothingness, where nobody wins and everyone cries. So use the internet to your advantage. There's incredible platforms available to you. Try it out. We got a little bit more time here. Got 8% battery on my phone here on TikTok, so that's probably going to end here soon. Let's see. So 20 years in claims. How do I find my next move? I feel like I'm just going to be a broken record today, and all of these are kind of the same thing. But again, like, your best move is to connect with people. You probably have kind of specialized skills, specialized talent after 20 years. So how do you kind of find some of these opportunities that are more specialized? And I think networking with people in the industry is the best way to do that. Excuse me. Again, like, job applications and work, but you want to really find like a good fit, a company that's looking for the skills that you have, or some of the skills that you have, and maybe you can grow into them or learn new ones. But imagine after 20 years, you're going to have a little bit higher price point, salary point. And so it's really going to be about fit, finding a company that makes sense. And it's really hard to find these types of opportunities just on the job board. Yeah, I mean, meeting with people, making connections, having conversations, trying to find a match for that is gonna happen a lot easier just networking with people, as opposed to spraying your application or your resume online. And so, again, conversations just as valuable as applications. Talk to recruiters, talk to people within your network, talk to people with job titles that would be a hiring manager for you. Yeah, try and get on phone calls. Go to industry events. All those things. Let's see what else. What else we got? We're a couple minutes over here, so let's end the week talking Road to 100. So the whole entire mission of this live stream every single week is to help 100 people get jobs in the insurance industry in the year 2026. And so just going to do a quick status update. The Road to 100. The needle did not move this week. We had last week we moved the needle 3 times. That was pretty cool. This week we need to hear some more of you winning. So let me know. Let me know if you got a job in the insurance industry, if you were able to land your next job. If I helped you out in any way, I'd love to hear from you. Love to add you to the Road to 100. This isn't just like people that I place as a recruiter in my career. That's just anyone that enjoys my content, that has gotten a tip from me. If I've been able to help you improve 1% and that's helped you find a job, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a DM, send me a message. You can fill out a form on my website if you want. Any way you can reach me, let me know. I'd love to add you to the Road to 100. We got 80 to go. It is May 26th. Memorial Day, Tuesday, a beautiful day, and we are still trying to get to the road to 100. So that's where we're at. That's the whole purpose of this live stream. If you joined us today, if you're listening in, if you're tuned in, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody.